And welcome to the No Kidding Podcast. My name is Andrew Figglemeister.
And I am Lisa Figglemeister.
Oh, that's interesting. We're like almost related.
We're so close, yet so far.
Not quite.
Yeah.
So like you got something to shoot off into here? Because flying with blanks just stumbled in here.
You stumbled in?
Half cocked.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to talk about the fact that today was freaking weird. Did you Did you?
I noticed that too.
Okay. I need to know because I feel like this is true. Sometimes this happens and I what is it called? Poll the world that I'm in. So just like the people that I know or like the internet or whatever. And I say, were you experiencing a really off day today? And so many people, when that happens, respond, yes. And then a lot of people will say that it has something to do with like the gravitational pull of the universe, or there's something going on where it's just messing things up. I don't know. I don't know if I'm into all that, but I'm just saying, what's going on?
Is Mercury in retrograde?
Exactly. Something's going on. There's something going on with the universe today because it was just one of those days where, you know, like it's like the Truman Show where you go out into the world and it's like the world just starts like getting in your way and you're like, what's going on? Like there's an accident and then like a car cuts you off and almost rams you into the side of the street. All these things happen, by the way. Oh, speaking of that guy, I'll be back to that guy in a minute. The guy who almost like knocked me off the highway. Okay.
Yeah,
Pause that.
We gotta make sure he's all right.
Well,
because we know you're fine.
Yeah, obviously I'm good. But put a pin in that. So then, you know, I'm going and like one of these things happened where I had to pee. So I go to Starbucks to go like to run in to pee. This is because I work through my car. My car is my office. I don't have like a bathroom, so I have to stop somewhere and go. And so I go to the same kind of Starbucks that's in my area. And it just so happened today they were shut down. I guess they had to shut down because they were having issues with COVID, maybe. I don't know. But the drive-thru was working, just not the interior.
Oh, we'll just use the drive-thru.
No, but here's what happened. So there's literally nobody in the parking lot. Nobody. And obviously because the store is closed and there's maybe like one person in the drive-thru. And so I go to pull into my spot that I normally pull into. And then all of a sudden, right as I'm like driving up to do that, a car comes past me and goes in front of me to go towards the drive-thru and literally parks right in front of the spot where I was going to pull in. So I'm like, oh, okay, that was weird. But I just wait until he moves forward so that I can swing around and pull in. So I did that. And then, of course, I get out to go to try the...
Because you got to have your spot.
Well,
I mean, the entire parking lot's empty, but...
I couldn't... Okay, like, I couldn't... I was already... It was like a one-way situation, and I couldn't, like, back up. I don't know. I was like... And there was really nowhere else for me to go. I was kind of stuck. So I was like, well, I might as well just go. So it didn't take too long. He ended up moving, and I parked. But then... I go in and I'm like, oh, dang, it's closed. I can't use the bathroom. So I get back. I go back into my car and and there's literally nobody. Okay. There's nobody in there. There's nobody in line. There's no part. So I get in my car and I put my car in reverse and I go look behind me and literally, I'm not even joking. I am not even joking. Probably like 20 or 30 cars are lined up.
Are you joking me?
Right behind me. So I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm trying to back out to leave and I cannot get out because nobody is letting me out. And so I'm just stuck there and I'm like, what is going on? And then...
And you're like leaning out your window trying to see if you can see if Mercury's in retrograde.
I know. I was using all of my ABT thinking strategies to just stay positive throughout my day. And then the next street I turned down, they're doing construction. They blocked off half the road, so I had to go a different way. And then on the way home, they had like blocked off 2 lanes on the highway because somebody dropped wood into the street. And I don't know. It was just like that all day. And I was like, what is happening? But it was actually other than those things, it was actually a pretty nice day. It was because it's so freaking pretty outside. I just roll my windows down. I'm like living in the moment. You know, it was beautiful, but it was just strange. So back to the pin. Do you ever feel this way? Because I feel bad sometimes when this happens. Because normally when I see somebody that gets pulled over or whatever from a police officer, I feel bad for them. Genuinely. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Because it's like, that their day is kind of not ruined, but it's
in the crap.
It's kind of a bummer.
You're never like, oh, I was pulled over earlier today, but I'm feeling pretty good.
I know. It just kind of like his day was worse than mine, obviously. But anyway, but I'm just saying, in this particular instance, I was a little bit, I had that little evil Lisa in me and was kind of like a little satisfied because it was the guy that almost ran me off the road because he was like swerving in between people and he was speeding. He was acting crazy and he was like just being
well, that kind of makes sense.
Kind of being a jerk, So I was like, ugh. And I had to honk at him because he would like pushed me off of my lane. Anyway, so we're driving along and then about a mile or so later, I see that a motorcycle cop pulls up behind him and he tried to exit the highway because it was on the highway. He tried to exit the highway to escape it, but it didn't work. And he got, which never happens, by the way.
So he tried to run from the cops as well?
No, well, not run, but I think he was thinking, I think he was thinking, well, maybe they're not after me. Maybe if I get off, you know how sometimes you think like, oh, if I turn the corner, maybe they're not coming for me and then I'll know for sure. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, what was I going to say? What was I going to say? I was just going to say something about that. I don't know. Anyway, so
about running from cops. you got GTA, you're loving it.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Because so many times when you're on the road and cops will pull people over for just going 5 miles over or something, and you feel so bad for those people, and you're like, what the heck,
What an injustice.
Why aren't they ever around when something bad is actually happening and when there's actually a jerk on the road? Like they're never around when they're needed. You know what I mean? Not true, but I mean, like most of the time, it feels that way. Yeah. So
your bias.
This was like the only time that's ever happened where they were actually there when they needed to be there. It was just so satisfying. I don't know.
Got him.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's all I had was that today was just, it was a weird day. How was it weird for you? Did you really feel that way or you just make it?
I was just messing with you.
Yeah. Okay. That's so
I mean, I guess it was kind of a weird day. Like I did weird stuff at work because I'm like taking on the responsibility of someone who's out. And yeah, I was on a roof. It's been a weird day.
You were on a roof? Can we expand on that a little bit?
No.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Well, Andrew's not going to fill you in on that, and we'll.
So there's been plumbing issues.
Oh yes, yeah, I heard about that at your house.
I use this excuse. Have you ever had a product that you've wanted to buy, but it's like a stupid product that has no use, and you're like, I'm not gonna waste my money on that because it's like a cool thing. It seems neat, but it's like I would never need it.
Oh yes, yeah, I know what you mean.
So like I shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But today is the day. I have a use for a snake cam, a waterproof 16-foot cable, semi-rigid. It's able to be. It has LEDs on the end to light up the pipes.
Wow!
I shoved it down my roof vent to see if it was blocked.
You were putting that like in your basket, like in those. I'll buy that one day, but I just can't. I can't justify it right now. And then
I went to Amazon like, today's the day.
Yeah, you're immediately in there.
Seize the day.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, it sucks. The kitchen sink backed up and
the
bubbling.
But
I think, because the toilet's bubbling. I don't know. Like plumbers unanimously say that there's a main blockage, but I think it just might not be getting air into the system, and then there's just happens to it exacerbated by the fact that the kitchen sink is blocked. But,
yeah, so now you've really put those plumbers to shame. You're like, plumbers?
Wow.
They don't know anything.
I don't know anything. I'll do it myself, and I'll buy cool stuff on Amazon to do it.
Those plumbers, they're always saying the wrong thing. I know what to do.
Nah, it's more like this is reconnaissance, so that I can test the plumbers. If they say like, "Oh yeah, it's all blocked up in your roof drain," I'm like, I already snaked that myself. I know what's there. You can't trick me, plumber.
That's smart, though, because you never know who's going to take advantage of you. I guess it's better to kind of know a little bit about everything.
Yeah, and it's an excuse to get a cool toy.
And that, too.
Dude, guess what was in there?
Oh, you found something?
Yeah.
Do tell. I need to know, yeah.
There was a living creature.
No, was it a rat?
It was not a rat.
Was it a snake? How ironic.
It was not a snake.
Was it a
Think much more friendly.
friendly? A cat?
In a pipe?
No.
It's like 2 inches around.
What kind of animal? Maybe a lizard?
There's a frog. You're close enough with
Oh,
this.
yeah. I probably should have guessed frog. That's ridiculous. They're always hiding in pipes.
Yeah, they do that.
Oh, how did he get in there, though?
I mean, he hopped right out, looked at me, and I was like, get out of there. And then he jumped back in.
Oh no. You're
Yeah.
like, he's like, you get out of here. This is my home.
Pretty much. It was fascinating, though. As I'm pushing the thing down there, I see eyes start glowing in the darkness, and I'm like, ooh.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I would be totally freaked out by that.
I was like, if I do poke it, is it going to suddenly, whatever it is, like rush up the pipe and jump out of me?
Probably. They're not aggressive, but they will. It's probably, I'm guessing, a tree frog or something, like a wet frog, like one of those slimy ones.
What?
You know what I mean?
You're a wet frog.
But they do. Like, if you get too close to them, they jump at you. And that's why they're kind of terrifying. Actually, my best friend has like a phobia of frogs, and I totally get it. You know, like I don't have that, but I can understand.
Oh, let me tell you, if they jumped up on their back legs and ran at you like plat 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 with their like on bipedal action, it'd be creepy.
Oh my gosh! I got your.
I sent you a post of just that.
I have to put this on
just such a
Instagram
thing.
for sure. It says, how much scarier would a frog be if it ran instead of hopped? You just hear plat, 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 plat coming towards you, and you look down, and it's a frog going full speed. Oh my God, how terrifying. That is an image for sure. Yeah, I've had a frog like that in my, I think it was in my washing machine. Yeah. And I don't know how it got in there because my washing machine is inside. It's not like, well, right now it's kind of in my garage area, but this one wasn't. This was when I lived at a different house. And it was actually inside. It was like next to our kitchen. So I don't know. He had to have obviously gotten into the house and then tried to find somewhere wet to go. And he found our washing machine. So I was doing laundry one day and he just like hopped out right on top of me. And I was like, ah! It was terrifying. And it's so funny because frogs, they don't hurt you. So I think it's just the fact of, that's the whole thing of them invading your space. That's all it is. It's like,
you're like, get out of my space,
you don't need to
frog.
be touching me, okay? Like if you're going to touch me, I don't do that. I don't like you. But it's weird because dogs will come right at you and like attack you and lick you. And you're like, oh, it's so sweet.
You're like, oh, nice, how fuzzy and sweet.
But yeah, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure there's some dirty frog lovers out there that love that kind of thing.
Maybe
The
they,
frog jumps on their face like, yes.
my prince. They have a whole like, they have a whole thing about it, you know, like for those fetishes. Like, it's just a prince, you know?
You think frog owners are like, do you think that's like a cliche among frog owners to name your frog after the Disney princes?
No, I don't know. Probably. It might be too lame though. They might be like, you amateur. I don't know.
You're such a new frog owner.
You're such a noob. You're such a frog noob. I don't know, but
It seems like an exclusive community.
it's true. Yeah, I don't know. I actually followed this girl on YouTube for a while because we were in a course together and she had a YouTube channel. So I was like, oh, let me check it out. And it was actually really interesting. She was, well, her whole channel is like exotic animals because she owns a bunch of exotic animals and she's like drawn to them, like instead of regular typical pets. So she basically would just talk about like facts and stuff about each of her animals, and then she expanded to other exotic animals, so her channel is like all about that. But so yeah, some people just like really love arachnids and slimy things, I don't know, as pets. I mean, they prefer them. So
Well, arachnids aren't generally slimy.
when I'm saying
I guess
arachnids and slimy things, like,
Oh, you think they go hand in hand though? That
well, yeah, like they
arachnid
could.
people are slimy people.
Well, you know, oh no, not at all. Just that, you know, they need something soft,
Alternative pets.
and they need something slimy, and they need something scaly, and they need something.
Arachnids can be soft. Ugh.
Ugh. That's what I meant. I said they're the soft
They can
one.
be furry.
Ugh. I don't know.
What if arachnids were dog-sized though, and like they would run at you and you could pet them? And
Can we? Yeah, like these alternate realities for you. I'm not digging them. Like a running frog and a dog-sized or arachnid. No, thank you.
what if dogs were the size of spiders and like hung from your ceiling and like jumped on your face?
You know, I'm not even going to entertain that with an answer. But actually, that reminded me of something, because something that we were talking about the last time, I think it was the last episode, when you were talking about how sometimes being in a busy place provides you like some freedom and helps you to think better. I don't know, specific,
Sure.
you know, we talked about that. But I was thinking about that, and I kind of was like really grasping it the more I thought about it, because I don't know if this is all introverts, but my thinking is after I have a conversation, somehow my mind just perseverates on that conversation until I formulate all these different perspectives, and then I come to like a whole nother perspective of my own. So I do that a lot. Anyways, so this was one of those occasions. And
It's like a Rubik's Cube. You got to figure it out.
Yes. So a lot of times I'll have an opinion about something, and then within a day or two, I'll almost not always like change my opinion, but I'll understand other opinions a lot better. And sometimes I will like morph my opinion a little bit. But anyway,
You got to be fluid. You got to be
you
agile.
gotta be fluid. Yeah.
You got to adjust as you obtain new
Yeah,
information.
as I process it. It's like maybe I just have a slow processing brain. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of got it, and I was thinking like how you're not obligated to anybody, and there's nobody around you, and you don't have to follow anyone to the next stop, and you can kind of just wander wherever you want without
Yeah,
anyone
it's crowd
really.
loneliness.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. It was like, yeah, like you could be around a lot of people, but still feel alone and like able to watch the world around you. And I love people watching. Like I've always loved that. And we actually were doing that at Disney the other day and just like watching things. But I was wondering, like, I wonder if anyone has ever watched me and made up a story about me and just like created this whole life and possible like scenario that, I don't know, like this alternate life that I had. And I wonder if it was better or worse than my actual life.
Well, who's to say?
I don't know, but I'd really like to talk to that person.
It's a matter of opinion.
That's true. It could be a matter of opinion, but I don't know. I kind of like to talk to the person that like designed this whole world for me and see what it was.
So you'd like if there was a feature in some futuristic Black Mirror-esque world where you could tap into other people's brains and be like, give me a Google alert for whenever anybody mentions my name in your head.
Whenever anybody thinks about me, or like not just your name, but can spot you and just say, "Oh, look at that girl over there.
Yeah,
Her life is
just
so
you get a ping,
magical."
and then you look over and some guy's like zoning out like,
Maybe I wouldn't want that. I actually probably would hate that if I knew how.
be freaky.
Yeah, how many
What
people.
would you want to review it after the fact, like after if the moment had passed?
Yeah,
and it was like,
yeah. If it was like later on,
The next
and
day.
you're like, "Oh, I wonder." Well, because then you might get obsessed with what other people are thinking. So
yeah, exactly.
know.
It's a slippery slope.
it is.
But you just want to peek behind the curtain. You don't want to.
Exactly.
You don't want to draw it
I
back.
really just want to talk to this one person that created a life for me. That's all.
I see.
So anyway, what have you been up to lately?
I was just watching the video earlier today of Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda Studios.
Oh,
It's officially approved. So
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot.
that's
Gonna be a lot of games.
that string of words meant nothing to me. So can you elaborate a little bit?
Aren't you excited?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Well, give me more information, and I
tell
might
me
be.
more.
So Microsoft obtained ZeniMax Studios, which is like a big umbrella of game studios and stuff. So it's just cool because they have the kind of like Netflix for games right now. So that all those good developed games are coming to the platform, but also that they could they're all like under the same umbrella now with like everything else Microsoft has, like Halo and Minecraft and stuff. So it's like it's interesting to have all these developers like able to share each other's technology and like look into like what's coming down the pipe and be able to use like each other's game engines theoretically or something.
Yeah,
It's
true.
weird though, because I assume like a lot of those companies are very proud of like having built that for their games, and then now it's like they have a big brother that's like, hey, cool game engine, let me have that, and I'm gonna give it to like some other random studio so they can make games like yours.
True. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm excited about that. It makes things a lot easier with everything in one place, and I can see how that could grow and become a thing that people.
Yeah. They already announced a whole bunch of games coming to the Game Pass for from Bethesda and stuff. So there's going to be a bunch of Fallout games and Elder Scrolls and lots of cool stuff. Doom.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you. Well, maybe not you specifically, but I'm just curious about other people's opinions about YouTube. So I don't know if you've ever watched. There's a video on YouTube called something like The Three Generations or something like that. But basically, they interview 3 different generations. So the grandparent, the parent, and then the child about what they did as a child and with the child himself, what they do and what they enjoy. And so like the grandparents are talking about how, we used to walk down to the creek and go fishing and it was just like the best. Or, like we used to kick cans, whatever they did. And then the parents were like, we used to just go outside and run around with our friends all day and, come home at dinner time and whatever. We got into all kinds of shenanigans. And then the kids are like, we play video games and we love going on our phones and texting and, socializing online and whatever else. And so but the point, it doesn't specifically say that the point of the video is to point out that like how sad it is that kids.
What a hidden agenda.
Yeah, it's kind of a hidden agenda situation. But they did kind of point out how like when the grandparents and the parents were talking about something, they were more animated. It was like a fondness that they were talking about. It was like they were happy to talk about it or whatever. And the kids were just sitting there on the couch. They were not really making eye contact. They were not moving around a lot. They were just talking. But I mean, there's so many reasons why that could be. Like they could be shy.
Yeah, also just age.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not reminiscing about something. They're talking about something they're currently doing. So maybe when they're older, they'll be like, when I was a kid, I used to play this game and like, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Or like that crazy time that they had a raid or something with their whole clan and they're like, oh man, and we busted in there and we were like, Leroy Jenkins.
Of course. I wonder if any child right now knows what that is. But yeah, I was just curious about people's perspectives on that. And like, obviously the world is, each generation, they did different things because that's the way that the world evolved. And I don't know, it's kind of like, I have two opinions about it because I feel like it's definitely important to embrace where they are, where the generation is and like what's happening in the world, what's evolving, what's going to be happening in the future. So they need to be prepared for that by engaging in the things that are happening right now. But then again, I also know from like a therapy standpoint and like psychology standpoint that how important, being out in nature is and being engaged in social interactions face to face and stuff like that. So like, I'm like, I think that there should be obviously a balance, I guess, between the two. But I think the video too was also showing like, because they went back and they showed the children's videos to the other generations. And like, they were really upset. Like they started crying and some of them were like, oh, this is so sad. Like they just sit inside all day, like whatever. So they were basically shaming the parents and saying like, hey, look at your kid. He's just not doing anything with his life. Which I thought was kind of crappy, but I don't know. It's kind of a weird generational topic.
Well, also like, it's interesting to think that like, what did they do as kids and what do they do now, I guess? That would also be an interesting question for like an older generation.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so like if you did all these things, like ride down to the creek and stuff and like hang out with your friends, like why don't you do that now?
Yeah.
Like you're a retired, right? Like you got like, if you're talking to like grandparents and stuff, like they are probably like got a lot more time on their hands. It's like, why? I have a sneaking suspicion that they probably sit inside all day and watch Netflix.
Exactly. That is true. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have an answer or anything, but it's
yeah, and it also would be interesting to, in the future see what this generation is saying about, like you were saying, like when they're older, like what are they going to be? Maybe they'll be more animated. And the thing that might be interesting about that as well is we're probably going to start seeing a lot more old people that like played video games when they were young and play video games when they're older.
Yeah.
Like there are some streamers out there and stuff that are like old men. And
that's true.
You know.
That's true. I think you do carry a lot of your habits from your childhood to adulthood. But I was, I know that this is kind of like branching off because I went into this like psychology spiral where I just started getting into like, I don't know, because I'm renewing my license right now for my job and we have to take continuing education courses and stuff like that. So I've just been diving into that a lot. And so it's fresh on the brain. But speaking of brains and kids, I found some like, interesting information, which I didn't really know because, well, part of it is it's new research that's come out. But some brain imaging has shown that. So, like as a baby in the toddler age group, they're very quick to be emotional. They want what they want. They're not combative, but like they don't always listen. They're exploring. They're learning. So basically, their brain
testing boundaries.
Yeah, like they don't really have the rules down yet. They haven't figured out the way the world works too. Yeah, so they're just kind of out there learning, which is why their brain has more plasticity to it. It's more moldable. The brain kind of is developing. So anyway, so then it's like an age range between 0 to 6 or 7 that it's like has a higher amount of plasticity to it. And then between like 7 to 12, the brain actually becomes more rigid. And so you can actually hold more mature conversations with these kids as they, start to age throughout that age range. And they were saying how you could sit down with a 9-year-old and actually have a pretty decent, mature conversation with them. And it's almost like you're speaking to an adult in a way. But then,
just with a much less experience.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But then like, it's weird because in the teen years between, like around anywhere between like 10 and I think, oh wait, no, what did I say? Yeah. Like 12 to, I think it's like 10 to 18 or 17 or something like that. The brain goes back to being more placid. So they revert back to having higher like recklessness and emotional outbursts and basically acting like a toddler again. They have more experience, so they're not like a toddler, but they share a lot of the same like emotions and stuff. And so, they're kind of showing like that could be why the teen years are so hard because their brains are actually back to being moldable and because they're
growing.
They're going through the puberty age and they're going through like that weird part of like developing into an adult brain. So I don't know, it was fascinating. And they were talking about how at that particular time, the frontal cortex, the prefrontal cortex and the frontal lobes are not fully developed. And so they're starting to become more, like, what's the word? They're like vulnerable basically. And so the teenagers become more susceptible to the effects of substances and stress. So that's why usually around the ages of like 17, 18, you start to see mental disorders forming and things like that, like mental illnesses and anxiety and mood and disorders like, that start developing because something occurred within that time that their brain wasn't developed enough to cope with. So, and then they developed with that stress. And so it's like formulating within that time period to becoming locked in, basically. I don't know. It was kind of fascinating. And also they said that also during that time, like those teen years to like between, I think it was like, I want to say like 12 to 17, 18, if you take any kind of substances or drink, addicting things like caffeine or do cigarettes or stuff, you're more likely to become addicted to it because the addicting effects of those things, they interfere with the development somehow, like because the brain is more sensitive to that So, and they
more sensitive. So that's the best time to do it. Hey, kids,
Hey,
here's the
light
time
it
to
up.
take your drugs that will be the most effective.
Yeah, light it up, guys. If you want a long-standing addiction for the rest of your lives, do it in your teen years. I mean, hey. But yeah, they said that like they did one study on cannabis, which was interesting.
What's that?
The green stuff, the THC,
okay.
I don't know all the fancy terms. I don't know the backwoods grass
trees, bruh.
Bruh. That's all.
You lighting up
That's
trees.
all I know.
That sticky icky.
The bruh. That's what I know.
You're rolling papers. Come on.
Licking those papers, rolling them, doing the doobie. That's one, right? The doobies.
Flip flopping the doobie. Sure. You got a slim slam. That's slim green.
Yeah, hold it in
and blow it out.
Hey, actually, that's really good for your stress levels.
I think we just taught kids something very bad. No, but
set them up for life.
It is interesting. I am interested that, like, I wonder if that happens at any other point in time. If your brain ever, like, goes through another phase of that. I'm sure they've done tons of studies and, like, determined that if the brain grows at all anymore. But if it ever becomes, like, a little more plastic or something, and maybe that would, like, account for something like a midlife crisis or something like that.
Maybe, yeah. Well, they do say that the brain is fully developed by around, like, 27. So, yeah. But that doesn't mean that you can't change your brain. So I don't really understand that, really. I'd have to research a little bit more because they said you're fully developed at like around 27, but you can still form habits. You can still learn things, obviously. You can still change certain like bad ways of thinking, your negative self-talk and things like that. So I don't know. That's a good point. But
maybe it's like, would you be willing to like get an injection or something that would make you every like 10 years, you would have a year or two, I would say 2 years, 2 out of every 10 years, you would be able to greatly change your patterns of thinking, but you'd basically be like a moody toddler for those 2 years.
Yeah, probably. That's the sacrifice, I guess. That's true. I don't know, but...
Would you do it?
No, I probably wouldn't. I don't know, though. Honestly, if it's only 2 years and I get to really change, like, improve and become a genius.
Yeah, like you could spend those 2 years, like, really developing, like, any new, like, elements of your personality that you want to form.
Yeah, maybe. But then again, like, if I'm that moody person, would I do it? You know? Would I be that committed?
Well, teenagers do it. Like they,
Yeah, but they don't want to.
They formulate their personality during that time. Generally.
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, I think they have studies that show that your personality is. But also, I understand
like,
what you're saying.
Learn new things and stuff. Like they're forced to go to high school.
That's
and
true.
Stuff. And generally, if you're going to learn a language, like once you're 25, it's going to be a lot harder than it would have.
100%. Yeah. Actually, one of the other parts of that whole study was showing that they found it was kind of a surprising thing, was that because of this new stuff, they've shown that IQ, which normally they believed once you test like in elementary school, that's your IQ, and like it doesn't change throughout your lifetime. But they show that they should actually test also in high school because your IQ can change over time, and especially in the teen years when they're going through that second like palatable, development.
Yeah, that's when mine really dropped.
In the teen years.
Yeah,
with all those addictions and substance uses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you drive off the cliff. Dude.
So the teen years, people put so much importance on the young developing minds, but they also need to put a large, focus on the teen years too, because they're basically equally important. Which I don't know. It was just really fascinating to me.
I don't know about that. Give it over.
Yeah, just put them in a home and never speak to them again. Those jerks. They become unbearable.
Do you feel weird around like teenagers? I feel like little kids, as soon as they're like 14 to like 18, I feel like they're weird people that are like they're too erratic to like want to enter into a conversation without them. It feels like like socially anxious to just be like, hey,
kid. They're looking at you like, who are you? Get away from me.
I'm not a kid. You have no life. You're like worthless. And I'm like,
oh,
okay,
nice.
well.
And they also think they know more than you about everything.
Yeah, exactly. They're like,
okay. They counter you. Like I know a teenager, and basically every single thing you say, she's like, that's not true. Like she'll have this whole other thing. And it's like, well, actually, you're wrong. But okay. I'll let you think that. That's fine.
No, now's the time. They got the pathway. You gotta mold them.
But maybe that's part of their development. Maybe they need to think that they're better than everybody else at that age. I don't know.
They need to be slapped down by life later.
Yeah. This is how they learn. They have to trial and error. I don't know. But it was just interesting. Another thing I've been really getting into, not really, I just kind of like dove in.
Really getting into it.
Not really. It was just like an interesting, like, because I was looking into the brain and, you go down that rabbit hole. No, well, I've always liked the brain. Like, psychology is my probably most interesting study. Yeah, it's probably one of the most interesting things to me. So, but anyway, this particular thing was about orcas. I think we talked about them a little bit before, but I'm starting to get really fascinated by orcas, which I knew a lot about. So I'm talking about like killer whales.
Right.
So I knew quite a bit. I thought I knew a lot about killer whales, but I keep learning more and more about them. And I'm like fascinated every time I hear something new. So yeah, that's kind of...
So do you just hate penguins or like what's the deal?
Oh my gosh, did you see that video? It's been circulating, so you must have seen it. But it's kind of like...
You're talking about the one where it's hiding? It jumps up on the...
Yeah. So he's like swimming in the water and then... But did you see the whole video? Because the first time he tries to jump up in the boat, he slams into the side of the boat and falls back into the water. And I was like, no, he's going to die.
What if he just reached out one little fin and was like, help?
Yeah, it was crazy. And then he jumped in the boat and he was like, he's terrified of every single person in that boat. But it was like either that or die. So
he's like, you might eat me. That will eat
yeah, exactly. That's so funny. No, I'm not.
And at least the people in the boat will make it quick.
Well, see, this was what Mike says. He's like, because I feel bad for the penguin. And he's like, well, so what? You want the orca to go hungry? Like, it's like you can't win, It's like you either want to save the penguin or you want to save the orca. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to pick one or the other.
It's the circle of life.
That was horrible. Anyway, yeah.
Have you seen the one with the, I almost feel like I'm getting them conflated, but is it the one with the seal that jumps on the boat as well?
There's another one that one's actually pretty cute, and I feel bad for the seal so much because he is terrified of the guy on the boat, but he's like, I'm not getting back in that water, so you better...
He's like, look, I'm going to stay on this side of the moving rock, and you stay on that side of the moving rock.
Yeah, exactly. But eventually he comes all the way into the boat, and... He just accepts it. He's like, okay, you seem pretty cool. And so I'm going to get closer to you because I'm a little too close to the water down here. So I'm coming up to you and we'll just have to figure it out. And hopefully I survive. I don't know.
He's like, I guess I'm a human now and I'll just sit in this bucket racer seat.
Yeah, don't mind me.
We'll crack open a Budweiser and let's head back to shore.
Like I was like thinking that. I was like, oh, they're not going to save the penguin because it was like a tour group or something. They were like whale watching. I don't know what it was specifically, but I was like, they're not going to interfere with nature and they're going to let it do whatever.
Suddenly the tour guide's like, so a rare opportunity has presented itself. Would anybody like to feed the orcas?
I know, right? And that's the thing is like, I would love to see an orca in real life, but I would be traumatized if I had to watch an orca eat a penguin or any animal or a seal or whatever. I would just, I don't know. It would just ruin me because that's just, I don't know. I don't like it. I understand it. I understand the need, but they can do it at their own time in their own place.
understand it.
Wait.
Don't appreciate it.
Do not
I won't.
eat in front of. It's like when people chew their food and they open their mouths and it's like, ugh, I know you have to eat.
And there's a little penguin in there going, ah! Don't kill me.
No. Oh, the poor penguin. But yeah, anyway, so one of the things though that was interesting that they talked about the orcas was, about why they don't eat humans. Because I mean, when you think about it, they kind of say that orcas will eat anything, which I always thought like orcas are kind of jerks. They'll just like kill anything, eat anything, whatever. But they are kind of jerks because they will kill anything. But they don't.
They're like polar bears. Why are all the like
oh my gosh.
meanest animals in the north?
Well,
in, like, the Arctic Circle.
It's rough out there, Limited food. They have to.
Well, yeah. Well, why wouldn't they conserve their resources at that point? Be like, I'll let that penguin live because it's got to reproduce, and then I'll have more food for later.
I'll be nice today. I'll let you go.
But no, it's just like I just want to take its head. Just its head is like
yeah. But I don't think polar bears.
Chew on that.
Yeah, I don't know that polar bears are intentionally cruel though, whereas killer whales are cruel.
I don't know. They've been known to just tear up some and leave it.
Really? Just like tear it up and not. Maybe because they think it's going to eat their food source. So they're like taking them out so that they're like murdering them basically so that they don't take their own resources. I don't know. That's a good point.
Do polar bears, if I can spell bears correctly.
While you look that up, did you see
hunt for sport?
Oh,
did I see?
Oh, the video of the polar bear who like climbed up to the fisherman's I think it was a fisherman. He was sitting inside this raised like hut or whatever, and so he like climbed up a little bit to peek his head in, and the fisherman gave him fish. And he took it, and he took it so gently. Like some dogs, how when you give them food, they'll just like softly put their mouths on it and like take it from you. That's what he did. Yeah. He looked so like sweet. And
I think I did see that, and I was like, well, he's gonna eat you at some point.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, just like every human's different. I assume there are polar bears out there that's like, well, I'd rather not have.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty nice, guys. Go ahead.
And then maybe he's just like, if I be really cool to this human, he just keeps giving me fish. Maybe he's smart enough that he understands the codependency.
Yeah, it's so dangerous when people do that, though, when they feed animals, because they're going to go up to a human that is not nice one day and get killed. So I feel bad.
Or they're going to come up to a human that doesn't have any fish. And they're
True. Did you find out anything about the aggressiveness of polar bears?
There's like a bunch of articles about how polar bears apparently are the only animal to hunt people.
They do? Really?
I don't know. There's a bunch of like articles and stuff here that say like polar bears will actively hunt man. Churchill, Canada, where polar bears stalk humans.
Oh, stalk them? Oh, stalk them. I thought you meant like stalk them, like they kill them and like stalk them into a little food pantry for later, and then they get another one. There's like a
polar bear stock boy, and he's like, "Hey,
got another one.
Do we have any more human? Where's the human?" Somebody was asking.
Do we have the small child one, or do they have the big adult? Where are we with the inventory?
I sent you that guy from the documentary, right, where the guy has like a enclosure for. He's basically a documentarian. He's out there in the plains, like getting video of like the wildlife and stuff, and he has this like bulletproof enclosure, I guess, made out of like metal and glass, and this polar bear comes and like tries to jump on it, like I guess the way they get like penguins and stuff is they cave in their enclosures. And so he like comes over and like starts trying to jump on it and like get inside.
That would be terrifying. What would be more terrifying to you? Being in a shark cage and having, like if you go underwater and those shark things and a shark's like coming at you and banging the sides, or being in that dome and being with windows on all sides and just being like pounced by a polar bear over and over again trying to break in. Which would be more terrifying to you?
I think a great white's probably like equivalent. Question mark, but it's a little bit of a question because I feel like I have more faith in the shark cages.
Okay, have you seen that movie? I think, what's it called? There's a movie about this, and the cage
Deep blue sea.
Yes, it breaks and it goes down to the bottom of the ocean. And then they're stuck down there and they have to like get out and try to swim. I don't know.
See, like, also great whites are known to, like, people swim with them. Like, crazy people. Like jump out and just like free swim with them.
Do they?
And like they're not generally known to be super aggressive.
They are. I'm bull sharks and great white sharks are aggressive.
I mean, they're too aggressive for me. I would never jump in there. They have been known to eat people, so I'm gonna stay out. But it definitely feels like, from what I've seen, that polar bears are a little more like, "Ooh, that's a human. I'm gonna go eat that. Go over here."
Yeah, I guess it depends on how hungry they are.
And I don't know. I don't really know much about those enclosures. It worked for that documentarian, but it was pretty spooky. And also, you can't like with a shark cage. Like, obviously, you're out of your element in the water, but you can just pull the cage out of the water. You can't really like,
I guess so,
pull the guy out of the tundra.
True.
So like if that polar bear decides like, I'm gonna sit weak,
but eventually
this cage,
then
you're in there.
Well, okay, first we have to talk about Sharknado. What if the shark attacks people on the boat and now you're just hanging on to life down there and now you have no oxygen and now you're not even just worried about the shark. Now you have to worry about your air supply.
Yeah, I mean, similar situation with the bear's just gonna chill out there and you got no food or water.
I guess that's true. Well, okay, so I looked it up and it says globally diving with great white sharks without a cage is not done commercially. There are no tour operators on the planet who will advise this activity due to the risks involved, except for one, and he has been officially banned from ever diving at the Galapagos Islands again. And it says, are great white sharks dangerous to humans? And it says, of the 100 plus annual shark attacks worldwide, a third to half of the are attributed to great white sharks, but these, however, are not fatal. Research finds that great whites, which are naturally curious, often sample bite and then release the human.
Yeah, like, way too bony.
Yeah.
I just let you go. But that one little bite is like 9 rows of teeth, all like the size of your thumb.
True. I know. And then it's like, okay, well, he didn't kill me, but he took my leg, so that sucks.
Now I'm full of holes.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many chicks are you gonna get with that scar?
True.
You're like, I got bit by a great white.
They say that. It says that experts consider bull sharks to be the most dangerous sharks in the world. But they're the great white shark's cousins. So, and tiger sharks are also, so like bull sharks, tiger sharks, and great whites are the 3 most likely to attack humans. But bull sharks are apparently the most dangerous, so stay out of the water. You know, it's funny. I mean, I'll dive and stuff, and I'll what do you call it? Scuba dive. But only in certain places where I know it to be safe. I mean, I've seen sharks kind of, off in the distance, and it's not a very comforting thing. I'm like, get me out of here. But anyway, so I'm not anti-ocean or anything, but I can understand why some people are, and I would probably never get into the ocean in the middle of the ocean. What was it like? Somebody said that getting into the ocean is like walking into a jungle blindfolded, because you literally can't see for very far in front of you, and you don't know what's gonna be there or come for you or whatever. I don't know. So,
but I mean,
kind of spooky.
Most of it's empty. Like you're probably I've been out in the middle of the ocean, jumped off a boat and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like a freaky feeling of like being over the abyss.
It's kind of like
kind of situation. Because it's just like you look down and it's just black.
Yeah.
And it's just like a whale could like come out of nowhere and like, oh.
True. I would just feel more comfortable if I knew it was like this is a safe place. Like tour people come here. They dive here all the time. It's cool.
I don't think there is such a place in the ocean, because it's just like there might be safe as far as anybody can see.
That's true.
But I mean, there's like so much space down below where there's even light that's like anything could be done.
I don't know. I think if I were going to be lost somewhere, there's 2 places I would not want to be: in the jungle or an ocean. The jungle mainly because of the bugs. Oh my gosh, I would. Like, have you ever seen Survivor Man or one of those survival shows?
Like the Everglades.
Oh, yeah, like...
The swamp would be the worst.
Oh, yeah. I think partly, too, but because of, like, the weather, though. Like the humidity and the nastiness and brings out the weirdest bugs.
Did you hear about that? There was a girl who crashed. It was actually a whole plane. It was pretty tragic. Almost everyone died. But one girl survived. Like basically the plane like broke apart in midair over the Amazon rainforest. And one girl survived because her seat like landed in a certain way.
I did see that. Or rather, I heard about it.
And she like her father had like, I guess he was somebody that worked in the Amazon rainforest. So she knew a little bit about like surviving out there. But yeah, just like this was like, I think in the 60s. So like, you know, she was a woman like on a flight. Like she wasn't like at all dressed for being in the Amazon rainforest, but like she totally like, hard as nails, like fought it out and like found her way back to
Wasn't she a kid? She was like 13 or something.
Yeah, she was young too.
Yeah. And I remember, I think, I'm trying to piece it together, but I think in the article they were saying that she came across, she actually found, she was with her mother, I think, and she found her body. And
I heard that she never found it, but she kept looking for her mom's body and she found a lot of bodies.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe she found something that she owned, like some piece of her mom, like a necklace or something. I don't know. I can't remember specifically. But then she also found some cake or some kind of like food, and she was hungry, so she like ate it all. And she's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, no, it was, I think the reverse. I think she wished she had ate it all, but she ended up like, some of it was in the dirt and
like
stuff, and she was like, oh, yeah, and she ended up eating only some of it, but then like later she was like, oh, I wish I'd kept that cake.
Yeah, something like that. So she didn't have food later on. Yeah. But she figured it out. She survived. She had to walk through a bunch of water.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. I honestly don't know what, I guess when you're in that situation.
Can you imagine being like, she found like, I think a like shack where some like fishermen or something like went out like kind of remotely to fish, and she just kind of like stumbled through the river like
trying to find them,
caked in mud, like after a week or something of living in the Amazon. She said like the mosquitoes were like
that would be the worst part. Yeah, that is why.
And then, like, just imagine climbing over the dock like a swamp monster being like, civilization, and then being like, oh my god.
I'm shocked. I got shark on my brain. I'm shocked that they haven't done a movie or something about that.
Here's the thing. I think they've done a couple, but one of them she said was, like, really bad. Nothing at all like how it happened, and, like, it was super...
theatrical, yeah.
Absurd, yeah. But then I think there was another one that was supposed to be more accurate.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of this, I can't remember the name of the show, but I just watched a show. I've only watched the first season because it's I hate that, but it's the only season that's out right now. And I want to say it's on Netflix, but it's about these girls.
WandaVision.
Is that it? No, not WandaVision. That's pretty popular right now, though.
Yeah.
No, it was, I can't remember the name. I'll look it up. But it's about these girls. There's like a handful of them. And it's kind of like a lost situation because they're on this flight and they're all going to some retreat because they all messed up. There's something that's going on in their lives. Their parents are they're high school girls. Their parents are sending them on this, like get better, mental health retreat. And then the plane crashes into the ocean, which is near an island, and they go onto the island and they have to survive there. And it's kind of weird because it flashes back to all these different time periods, like before the flight, their life before, they flash to after they're found, and they're being interviewed by this underground society or whatever, which is supposed to be like the FBI or who knows. And then it shows them actually surviving on the island and trying to work together or whatever. And then as the series goes on, I don't want to give anything away, but there's all these like, oh my gosh. Like,
then there's a bunch of nuns that fight evil demon spirits.
Maybe. I can't give that away, but...
I can't comment on that.
Yeah. I'm having flashbacks to Lost to where I'm almost... I have like anxiety about it because I'm like, is this going to be another Lost situation?
Oh no, you've got like...
I've got PTSD from Lost.
Yeah, you got PTSD from Lost. Wow.
But I made it through the first season and I'm not totally against it yet. So at first I was like, this is pretty cheesy. This is going to be dumb. but it actually held my attention, and it's very thought-provoking and interesting because it's like about their survival. But then I think pretty early on, like the first episode or something, you find out. So basically, they're trying to make a phone call to try to get their phones working, and they find 2 phones, and they're trying to get them to work. One of them does work. One of the girls gets through to somebody, but they don't take her seriously. So,
LOL, yeah.
I know, right? But then later they find another phone that one of the girls hid. So then it turns into like, well, why did she hide the phone? Like what's going on? So then there's all these things that happen. There's like clicks that form. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to try to find it.
Is it like Lord of the Flies, but with fully grown women?
Well, they're teenagers. I mean, they're in high school. So,
So mostly grown women?
Yeah, basically.
Half grown women?
Yeah, it is.
Half-baked Lord of the Flies.
It kind of is. Yeah, they have to figure it out. And what's the worst part about it, for me, the most frustrating thing is they don't build a shelter. And I'm like...
just fall asleep on the
They're
ground.
like sleeping on the beach. And I'm like, that is not realistic. You need to build yourself a shelter. What's going on?
Oh, come on. Who wouldn't want to sleep on the beach? It's like an ultimate vacation. You might as well take a vacation time while you're stranded.
Exactly. And they are like high school girls. So they're not, I don't want to say stupid, but they're into their whole drama, and they're not really focused on what their survival needs. And I'm just getting frustrated. I'm like,
focus.
Come on, girls, you can do it. But then they do have some epic,
I have a lot more faith in, I think most high schoolers would be able to construct a shelter at least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyway, it's called The Wilds. It's on Amazon. Sorry, it's on Amazon Prime. So it's called.
Are they in the Amazon?
No, they're
missed opportunity.
They're on a beach. I know, that's true. It is. It's called The Wilds. Check it out if you're interested.
You think Amazon is always looking for things about the Amazon rainforest to become more like?
Yeah, but it is so stressful. Like I feel like
themselves?
that would be the scariest thing, to be lost in the ocean.
Oh yeah, in the ocean.
Yeah, like if you got stuck
That
on the
would
ocean.
suck. You get so sunburnt. Ugh.
Well, yeah, and
It'd be like I would just die from being cooked. Like even if I had food and water.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. There's like a show out there about a guy who, like a true story about a guy who survived for like 2 weeks out there. It was like horrible.
Can you imagine having like the worst sunburn ever and being in the sun all day with it?
That would suck. And being thirsty and being, I don't know, like so many things.
It's wild. I wonder if you can survive that. Like if you were, I guess people have, like out on rafts and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have like zero melanin, like not quite albino, but pretty close.
I think, I don't know.
Basically, I'm asking if I could.
If you could do it? Well, you probably could.
Just from like
if you had water.
No resistance.
If you had water, you could survive, but you would probably get like severe enough burns that you would have scars maybe for life or something.
Yeah, I'd probably have some. Or I definitely have to constantly be going to dermatologists for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, got a little spot here. Oh, yep, that's another one.
That's true.
It's cropping up.
Yeah, that is true. Well, anyways, should I talk about some Orca facts before we go? Or
quick Orca facts. Let's lightning round some Orca facts.
I got some. And, we're talking about the ocean. And the big one is, like, why don't they eat humans? I'll get to that. I'll answer that question in a minute. But first of all, you need to know.
Oh, she knows the answer, people.
I do. Well, kind of.
That's
It's a theory. It's kind of like the most legitimate theory. I don't know, out there.
You mean you didn't have like a Free Willy moment and talk to
Well, I would love to. Actually, that was a really great movie. Watch that if anybody hasn't. Free Willy.
They didn't show the part where he tortured a seal.
Okay, well, that's good. That's probably why I liked it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, with orcas, the reason that I kind of started this is because we were watching these videos of orcas and how they will fish for birds, okay? They don't want to eat the birds. They just want to kill the birds and play with the birds, like their bodies. Yeah, so like what they do is they get a fish. They kill the fish, obviously, but they don't eat it. They just will spit it out over and over again and just like let it land on the top of the water as there's birds circling around or like nearby. And basically they're waiting for the bird to get brave enough to go down and get the fish, to swoop down and get it.
And then.
Yeah, and then eventually, and they'll do it for a while. Like there was one that did it for, I don't know, like 20 minutes. And then a bird came, went and got it, and he like got it immediately. He was so fast. And yeah, he just brought it down, wanted to like tear it up a little bit and then play with it. And then another one was that
do you think the other Orca kids are like, do you have a bird? He's like, no, let me look at
yeah. Well, they're very intelligent. So part of that theory is that they just need that mental stimulation. They need to stay active with their brains and do things. Like they can't just swim around and do nothing. So I don't know. It was pretty interesting. And then another one was he was in a pool, like maybe, one of the places where they held orcas. And he had a fish that was fed to him and he kept it and he put it on this.
Who's he? And there's a
I
protagonist.
don't know. The orca. I'm assuming it's a male. It could be a female. I don't know. But yeah, so, and he set it on the side of the pool and then just like held back and like went just under the water a little bit, kind of like an alligator would do, but he put bait out there. He baited it. And then some birds were standing there and they were really scared to do it. They were like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I should do it. And one kept getting a little closer. He's like, no. And he'd back away. And then finally he got brave enough and he went for it. And then bam, he got caught. And I was like, man, that's so smart. But they're like very intelligent creatures. So anyway, so orcas are one of 3 animal species on the planet to go through menopause, which was really interesting.
Huh. That's my fascination there is that there's only 3.
Oh, yeah.
And that we're one of them, obviously.
Right. But the reason that they do that is because they are the only known non-human animal to have evolved based on culture. So culture being like animals learn from each other and they learn a set of behaviors, habits, traditions, things like that. So orcas, they'll stay in groups and these groups are led by the grandmothers. So grandfathers don't last as long for some reason as grandmothers in the orca community, but the grandmothers actually are the ones that teach their group traditions and cultural norms. And they model behaviors and things to the young, which was super interesting because they don't even like different pods of orcas will have different traditions and things that they do, different things that they eat, what they do for fun. They model, like they'll even choose, like have a specific way of choosing their mates. And all of that is constructed based off of the grandparent, which is the grandmother specifically in this case. But they're the only other animal on the planet or, non-human animal that will do that other than a human, which is crazy. And then, so part of that reasoning is like, well, why don't they eat humans? And they show that it's probably because it's not in their culture to do that because they don't eat humans because they've.
Oh, they're like Jewish.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, the humans are
kind
secret.
of like they basically have already formulated their traditions of eating a specific food like shrimp or like, because killer whales, they won't eat just anything, which I thought wasn't true because they're constantly killing everything. So I'm like, they must be eating these things, but they don't.
Maybe they don't eat humans, but why don't they kill them? Like if they will kill a bird just
yeah, they talk about that too. So, but the cultural part, like apparently orcas or killer whales have been around for around like 11 million years. So compared to them, like we're not, we were never really a food source to them. And they say that overall, we're not a reliable food source and we've never really been sampled before. So they don't even really think of us as food. And yeah.
You think they think of us as aliens?
I don't know.
Like we come in there and they're like, I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure I shouldn't eat it.
I don't know. Yeah, but they are picky eaters and they basically will only eat what their mothers or grandmothers tell them to. And they've just never been taught to eat humans. So they leave us alone for that. But
it's like how we don't eat like possums or something. It's just like, I don't know. Something about that doesn't seem appealing.
Yeah, but back to the Free Willy thing, because there's this whole story, like legend in Free Willy, how orcas and humans, since they first became, connected, they formed a bond, a friendship. So that's still a theory that is accepted as like one of the best theories, is that because killer whales actually will gravitate to humans and try to bond with them and play games with them in the ocean and stuff like that. And they seem to understand people, and they're eager to cooperate and create bonds like easily with them. So they don't, for whatever reason,
maybe they could tell another intelligent
maybe that's it. I don't know, but
I could see the light in your eyes.
I don't know, because dolphins, like porpoises are like among the they haven't really studied killer whales as much as dolphins, and killer whales are in the dolphin family, but porpoises specifically are shown to be one of the most intelligent creatures on the planet. And in some studies, how does it rank with an octopus? Actually, they are smarter than an octopus. However,
how dare you? Octopodes are the smartest beings.
Well, the thing is like it's hard to say because they don't do the same things, so it's hard to measure them based on the same things.
You see that horse do math?
Yeah, actually, what did I read about that? It was like, was it the one where he was stomping his hoof and he was doing it because of the audience's reactions?
Yeah, it was something where it's like horses are super keen to like
body language?
Basically look for body language and stuff like that, like reactant to people's emotions and stuff. So.
That's so fascinating too. I'm going to have to get into that. I'm going to have to like go down that rabbit hole too and find out more about that too. But anyway, yeah. So, but dolphins are very intelligent, and killer whales will kill and eat dolphins. Or they'll kill them. They don't always eat them, but they kill them. But I think part of that too is like a territorial thing. They're, competing for resources. So they got a whole war going on, whereas we don't really, we fish. So I don't know. We steal their food sometimes. I don't know. Like the penguin, we stole their food. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyways, what else was really fascinating to me?
Do they fight dolphins?
They do. They fight.
Oh,
yeah.
It's messed up.
So I don't know.
Like I want to see that battle. I assume the killer whale would win. I mean, dolphins are pretty hardy.
Well, yeah, killer whales are an apex predator. They have they're like humans of the ocean. They dominate. So.
Ooh, now I want to see a great white versus a killer whale.
Oh, yeah. Killer whale will demolish. So, what else? What else is interesting? Oh, most males never leave their mother. So, like, they form groups and societies just like humans do. But the males specifically will never leave their mothers. And if the mothers die, when the male is like 30 years or older, the death of that mother will increase the likelihood of the male's death by 8 times. Like, he has an 8-time increase in the likelihood of death within a year after his mother died, because it's like so traumatizing to him to lose his mother. Which is, oh, wow. I know, it's sad.
Like, they just become listful?
I don't know. They can't really, they feel like they can't survive without their mother. They're like mama's boys, which is very interesting to me.
Specifically, like if the father dies, is the father even in the picture at that point?
No, it seems like the females kind of are dominant in that society. The grandmothers shape their culture. The mothers train the young.
Got some very specific jobs in this hierarchy.
Yeah. The males are kind of there to reproduce. I mean, I don't really know
a cushy job.
The males' role, yeah. But they all stay together. Like, they never leave each other until they die, of course. But what was also interesting is they can control the flow of blood to their organs, which I don't know if other mammals, and I don't know if other ocean...
Oh man, it's like a spaceship. It's like I'm shutting down the liver to save power for shields.
Yeah, and it's so that they can dive at different depths in the ocean, and they can distribute the blood flow so that they can stay down longer or something like that. It was pretty interesting. And then they're one of the fastest swimming marine mammals, where they can reach up to 30 miles per hour. But they usually stay around like 2 to 6 miles.
Cheetah can beat them.
Well, okay, this is a swimming animal. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, talked about like their intelligence, but we talked about that already. So, what's
the slowest? A jellyfish?
I don't know. That's probably true, or a sea slug, maybe. But while I was looking up like within the top 10 smartest animals, because I was like, well, where do killer whales rank? And it turned out that they haven't been studied enough, which is weird to me because they're so intelligent. Why wouldn't you study them? And they've been in captivity, so I don't know. But they haven't been studied enough to make a list, but they're probably up there with the dolphins. But what was weird was squirrels made the top 10 list of the smartest animals. I know.
Have you seen that video of the guy that builds the obstacle course in his backyard for the squirrels?
No. That's funny though.
Like he basically got annoyed because, as most people who have squirrels know, they will like get into the bird feeder.
Yeah.
So he's like, I wonder if I can build like something that's not only squirrel proof, but that's like just squirrel proof enough that I can force them to go through like an obstacle course to get to it, and if they will take the time to figure it out. And he basically just kept extending it until they were willing to go through like this absurd amount of stuff to get to, like, he basically set up a prize for them.
Oh yeah.
So the victor got like a bunch of nuts and stuff.
That's cool.
But yeah, they learned all these crazy tricks to like acrobatic like ways to get around these crazy obstacles, like the spinning ladder, where it's only connected like at one point at each end.
Yeah.
But it's like a ladder thing, so when you climb across it, like flips over.
That is pretty smart.
And they they have all in like these there were certain sections where you had to do like long jumps and all these kinds of stuff where they could barely make it. But
yeah,
it's fascinating to watch them go through.
That is cool. Yeah, because when they were listing like why squirrels made the list or whatever, they said that one of the reasons is because, well, they're like they're wild animals that have learned to live with humans, but also that they have like
adaptive. Yeah,
they're adaptive, and they show like a bunch of abilities and strategies that like help them survive, and one of those is being able to do those kinds of things, like jumping.
The common squirrel.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Actually, our uncle who lives in Colorado, he loves squirrels, and he I think he does similar things, or he makes sure that they have a nice place to live in his backyard.
Oh, maybe he could upload some videos.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, I guess, are
those all your Orca facts?
I think so. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. So
out of Orca facts. Tune in next week for more Orca facts.
Nah, we're done with Orcas for now.
Signing off from Orca facts.
All right, hope you learned something new. Check it next time.
We'll see you next fortnight.
Yeah. Don't forget to go to the Instagram account, and I will post this froggy meme that Andrew shared with me.
Plap,
the
plap.
plap, plap, plap one. Okay. See you there.
Plap, plap, plap. Bye.
Bye.
I love you, that's why I say cheerio, not goodbye. Remember our old tune, be back soon.
Let's not have like a after the after segment.
Okay, let's not do that. I don't know why
Let's
you
not
do
do
that. It's so lame.
I know. We should really stop. This will be the time. It's finally
No,
done.
it's the best.
Today is done.
What?
Today it's done.
Why do you hate it? Why do you hate yourself?
It's gone.
Ugh.
I'm cutting it out.
Fine.
We're so clever.
We are. I know.
I love you. Bye-bye.